Hurricane Idalia is expected to make landfall as a major hurricane.
And red flags are flying along our area beaches, a warning to swimmers about the risk of rip currents and dangerous surf.
And these conditions are likely to continue for the rest of the week. Meteorologist Steve Fundaro joins us now with more on what to expect.
You know, usually before some sort of tropical system and after some sort of tropical system, there's always a window on either side where there are waves and nice weather and people are out there enjoying catching some surf, but it does come with some rough conditions as well. This window is brought to us by Hurricane Franklin, the major hurricane which is passing by us by over 300 miles. Textbook image of the satellite picture of a major hurricane. If you were to open up a Meteorology 101 textbook and say, what does a major hurricane look like, you would see that with the eye. So with winds over 150 miles an hour, at least wind gusts, that's pushing all of the water, creating a swell, and that swell is arriving at our area beaches in the format as some large waves. And today with the sun out, especially in parts of the morning hours, there's been some fun surf throughout the day. This is going to continue through the day tomorrow, but also the risk of rip currents is going to continue because there's so much momentum with that water moving around. And sometimes when the waves are big enough, they could break up the sandbars a little bit. So what does rip current look like, and what is a rip current? It's a big channel of water that moves away from the coastline, the opposite direction of the way the waves are moving. So there's a break or so in the sand down at the surface, and there's a channel of water that moves away from the sand, away from where it's comfortable. That's where it gets challenging because you can get stuck in that current, and if you fight it, you're just stuck kind of treading water almost, or like on a treadmill. Now the trick to get out of a rip current is to swim parallel to the shoreline, to the left, to the right. That gets you out of that moving water that's going outwards and allows you to use the waves to kind of come back in. This will be an issue for the rest of the week. Yes, we've got some waves through tomorrow from Franklin, but by Thursday and Friday, Don, we've got some increased winds out of the northeast from what comes of Idalia as that comes up the coastline.
Yeah, as it comes up the coastline, and for the most part misses us. Now, the very bottom of your screen, you're seeing all these advisories, and well, no, it's not that big a deal. They're issued as just a technicality. The tropical storm watch is all the way along northward to the Virginia state line. However, we're not going to get a tropical storm. Even at Hatteras, it's likely to be well to the south of Hatteras. It is going to hit the northeastern corner of the Gulf of Mexico overnight. It's basically, it'll be within about 48 hours striking distance if it were to suddenly just go crazy and hang a left turn, but it's not likely to do so. So again, a tropical storm watch is in effect, flood watch is in effect, but again, it's all very, very precautionary, so I wouldn't worry about it that awfully much. Here's what's going on. Overnight, it intensifies further. Right now, it's got 100-mile-an-hour winds, gusts to 120. 115-mile-an-hour winds or more at 2 o'clock in the morning, and it could continue to strengthen as it makes landfall somewhere right on into the Big Bend area of Florida to the southeast of Tallahassee. Now, this is still kind of swampy areas, not so much beaches into there, it's more swampy area, and then lots of forested area as it moves on up through Florida and toward Valdosta, Georgia. So it's really going to knock down a lot of trees and likely power lines. There's where things are by 2 o'clock in the afternoon tomorrow. Still a hurricane, even though it's been over land for some time. And there's where it is falling apart, 60-mile-an-hour winds just to the north of Charleston, South Carolina, and then emerges out over about the Myrtle Beach area and moves on east-northeastward out to sea as a tropical storm with 50-mile-an-hour winds, 50-mile-an-hour winds by late Thursday night. And again, this is all well to the south of Cape Hatteras. You'll note how it kind of curves to the southeast. Once it gets out into here, the forecast models don't know what it's going to do. And you'll know how the cone gets really wide once it gets past Friday. So it is one to watch. This one, again, is one to watch, but it's way on out to sea. That's Franklin. That's giving us some waves right now, but it's not going to bother us at all. We look at what's going on with our part of the world. Again, no rainfall. Looks like rain, feels like rain, but it's not. And this is kind of cool. It's just really, really, again, as Steve said, very, very classic picture of a hurricane. But that's not coming near us. We've had a couple of stray showers along the eastern shore. And again, the big thing going on is this one. So let's have a look at where it's going. This is our future track computer model, the graph, now through Friday morning. And again, Franklin is going to be gone. But this is likely to make landfall again tomorrow morning after 7 o'clock, around 9, 10 o'clock in the northeastern Gulf of Mexico, toward Valdosta, Georgia by the afternoon hours. Still strong, producing very, very heavy rainfall. I've added the wind here for Hatteras and wind gusts in Virginia Beach by tomorrow evening at 7. Nothing much in Virginia Beach. You'll note it's still over land by 7 o'clock tomorrow evening, west of Savannah. Those where things are coming up by the overnight hours, 3:30 in the morning. Starting to see some wind increase into our area, and there's where things are by 1 o'clock in the afternoon on Thursday. Gusts to around 40 at the oceanfront in Virginia Beach, 35 for Hatteras, but could be 55 or greater coming up Thursday afternoon and evening. But then it moves on away and things settle on down. So again, it'll likely be well to the south of Hatteras, so not a huge problem. 87 tomorrow, chance of rain late in the day and tomorrow night. It'll be rather windy, as I showed you, coming up on Thursday, but then it moves on away. Friday is quiet. Great weekend ahead.